session on algebra. I'm really excited to be here after so long we're doing this session, and I hope you're as excited as I am. So I'm reading comments. People, hi Val, hi Abhinav. People are here. People were waiting before the session started, so I can sense the excitement already. Let's keep this up and see the magic going. How this topic, which usually scares people, how this turns into something you're super comfortable with. So, what are we going to do before that? Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm your host for today, Shweta Kushija. I am a quant product creator at GMAT. The co host with me today is Harsha and Aditi. I am sorry we missed Aditi's picture here. So, our agenda is that you learn the art of solving algebra questions. We are not going to give you shortcuts that work on one question and not on another, or work on five questions and then the next five you're completely lost. No, it's an art. You need to learn the right approach to solving questions, and then no question will be difficult for you. Quant 2.0 is a complete solution for all quant problems. Today is just a teaser, you can say, into the entire course. So, the way the session is designed, it's inspired from the way the course is designed. Now, these are some success stories to where you really can see, how this course has been impactful. So 2.0, when this was launched, as students say, it was a substantial upgrade over the original quant files. Now, this upgrade, the main upgrade here is that we first try to understand you before we give you a solution. So we'll first assess where you currently are, and then we'll tell you how you need to go on. Now, all of this upgrade, whether you are a novice or you're a pro at quant, if we understand you, where you're starting from, only then can we give you the right steps, and you won't have to do extra steps either. So, success combined with enough time to do things is powered by all of this wonderful AI that we have. Now, these are some success stories. This is the number of Q49 scores that EGMAT powered. I think there is some um, oh yeah, perfect. So Q49 scores, if you just look at this, is the number of success reported, number of people who reported their success on GMAT Club, your trusted GMAT partner. This is EGMAT with 47 success stories, and then the next best is straight at 25, and you can see how the number goes down after that. So these numbers tell a story. They tell that the approach that I'm talking about, that one approach which will always fit, something that does not need shortcuts, something that makes you capable of solving all kinds of questions, how that approach works. Now, this is 700 plus reviews on GMAT Club. So, this is all of those people who scored an overall 700 or higher. And look at the sheer number difference, 26 powered by eGMAT. This is just June 2021, by the way. And then the next best is less than a third of these numbers. Now, today, why are we doing this session? Today, the purpose of the session is to reinforce this idea that I just talked about, the right way of learning. This will tell you what the key to acing the GMAT is. The key is not doing 10,000 questions. Imagine two students, one of who does, 1,000 questions but does not take enough out of those questions. Another who does 200 questions, but out of each question, he extracts everything that he can, all the juice that's there, learns it the right way. So, how does this 200 question person become better than the 1,000 question person? Because he's focused on the right key to acing. What is that? Having a strong conceptual background. Once you build that concept, background is not the right word, you might already be rusted with what you did at school. We will help you build that concept foundation, but that is essential. Without the right foundation, you cannot reach the top. Your building will never be very strong. So, sound understanding of basics is one thing, and then there's a structured approach to solving questions. The approach that I've been talking about, the right way of solving questions, which does not fail on half questions and succeed on half. Now, today's session, important that you understand the flow, how we're going to go with this. So, we will begin with a small warm up. So, all of us will warm up and we'll just get into the groove of doing questions. How? These will be easy questions. Three questions, really, just 500 to 600 level. This is where you will really see the conceptual understanding that you have right now through three questions, yes, but it will be the beginning. Then we'll go to the next stage where I'll talk about some traps. This will actually keep happening throughout the session. It's not like it'll happen only after the warm up or before this or before that. No, every single question, when we discuss the solution, you will be able to identify what are the traps in the question, what are the faltering points. And as you keep learning, then it'll be time for you to apply your learnings. So, sprint one is where I will put you to test. So, this is where you'll have three questions, slightly harder, obviously, than the warm up. Warm up questions are just at the beginning, sprint is where you start applying. After sprint one, there'll be another one, another practice session with four questions. And then throughout, as I said, feedback will be heavy, takeaways will be heavy. You will get a lot if you keep an open mind to learning. Make sure that every time I tell something and you realize, oh, that's me, I made that mistake, you note that down. By the end of the session, you should have a nice list of areas where you need to work on. Because how does score improve? Think about it. Well, you first need to find where you are right now, why you're where you are, how to improve, learn from your mistakes, and don't repeat them, right? So this feedback of finding out what my weakness is today, that is what I'll work on and make it my strength later on. So once the flow is clear, I will take you into the warm up section. And as I said, warm up will be easy questions. These are basic questions on algebra. And what you'll get out of this is feedback about your current conceptual knowledge, only the foundation, only the ABCD, not yet whether you can spell the word cat, bat, or xylophone. So you will get solutions, not very detailed because these are basic questions. Now, how this will happen? Three questions, as I said. You will get polls in the chat. So check the chat, you will get polls. Click on the link and then respond there and come back here. No responses in the chat, please, because when you do that, you influence someone else who does not then get a fair chance of doing the question. That person might get impacted by your A when that person was actually leaning towards a B, and maybe he was right. So let's not do that. We will solve these questions after you're done. Let's go in for the first poll. Let's have the poll here, and the question is this, but no answers here, please. I am sorry, everyone. There was a miss. I was not added to stream so that you can hear me. So I'll quickly repeat this one. The good news is that your accuracy was so good. Can you guys now hear me? Abhinav Vinayak. I'll want one more confirmation from both of you, please. Can you hear me now? Anyone else could also chime in. Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So coming back, the accuracy for this particular question was 86%, and that's why I was a little quick when I explained this one. What you really need to do here is you needed to find the range of y, the values of y, and this is the inequality you had. Right now, you see y is in two places. It's on the left side also, it's on the right side also. So you need to get all of the y's together, all of the constants together. That's the rule. Every time you want to find the value of a variable, get it all together. So here then, this negative y will have to come to the left hand side. It will become plus y, and that's what you see here. Then the 10 will have to go away because it's time for us to find the value of y. The 10 from here, which is a plus 10, when it goes to the other side, it becomes a minus 10. Then you just divide by 5 on both sides. So this one required the very basics of inequalities. You just saw how a plus on one side becomes minus on the other side, how you divide both sides by a positive number and nothing changes, the very basic. And that's why we had a pretty good accuracy here. Okay, thank you everyone for those messages confirming that you could hear me. Time for us to then go on. Warm up question number 2. Paul will be here in seconds. Manish, everyone can hear me now. Could you check your internet, please? So, Paul, again, question number 2. Let's see how this goes. All right, as you can all see in the chat here, the accuracy for this one is pretty low. It's 62%. Let's see why that happened. 38% of us went wrong. Aditi, if you could also give me the next most popular choice. Okay, 1. And what percent of people went with 1? That's choice A. Let's see how many of you went with 1. Meanwhile, 25% people with choice one, 23. That's pretty big. Let's look at this, discuss it part by part, and see why that happened. So, there it's a faltering point, okay? When I'll talk about it, you already know that all of the people who marked A1, they made some mistake. Because it was so popular, that mistake has to be a pretty common mistake. Let's see, understand that, and never repeat it. How many non-negative integral values of m do the following given inequalities satisfy? What is that? Can someone tell me what non-negative means first of all and what integral values mean? By the time I'll get to that in the solution, I should have answers here. So what we have here are two inequalities. One inequality has both variables m and n, and another inequality has just one variable. Now remember, the question wants m. So what does it not want? It does not want n. So whatever it does not want, we try to eliminate that. Okay, we have answers from I love can and Ansh. No, I love can. Non-negative does not mean positive. Ansh got it. Val got it. Pallavi got it. Manish, no, you also missed 0. So I can see where the confusion is happening. It's not positive. Non-negative, guys, means something which is not negative. It could be 0. It doesn't have to be positive. Now, continuing what I was saying, first mistake we've already identified. Continuing that we need to eliminate n out of it. Now, how do you eliminate any variable? So, listen carefully. What you need to do, first of all, is to somehow have the same coefficient of the variable that you want to eliminate. So, since I don't want n, I want it to have the same coefficient in both inequalities, but with opposite signs. Right now, what I have is minus 0.5 in the first one and 1 in the second one. How can I make them the same but with opposite sign? Well, this 0.5, I can just double it and it's going to become 1. That is what I want. How do I now just double one coefficient? I can't do that. I'll have to multiply the entire inequality by 2. That's a very important step. Once you do that, you get negative 4m minus n plus 5 greater than 0. And the second one stays as it is. Do you see that n now does have the same coefficient and it has opposite signs? I am ready to eliminate it. How? By adding the two inequalities. When I add them, the minus n and the plus n, they cancel out and I will only be left with negative 4m greater than negative 10. Just substitute value, says I love can. Never do that. Only substituting or plugging in. Yes, you can do that on easy questions. This is something for everyone. I'm so glad you said that. When you plug in, it will work on some questions, but it's not an approach that you can use everywhere. It's not a scalable approach. And remember, from the beginning of the session, I've been talking about using the right approach, learning every question the right way so that when the exam throws something very tricky at you, you're not confused. You don't just get intimidated. Oh my God, I haven't seen this. Doesn't matter. If you know the right approach for any question in algebra, this inequalities right now we're talking about specifically, if you know the right approach, you'll know what to do. Plugging in will not always help you. All right, coming here back to this. This is where the mistake must have happened. This is one place. When I divide both sides by negative 1, do I just get 4m greater than 10? Is this step correct or not? Let's have it in the chat. What do you think, guys, when I go from minus 4m greater than minus 10 to 4m greater than 10? I've just divided both sides by minus 1, or you can say I multiplied both sides by minus 1. Doesn't make a difference at all. Is this correct? Let's see who says it the first. Come on. Is this correct? Let's have this as a very interactive session. Let's not have this like a lecture where I'm talking and you're just listening. The more you participate, the more you're going to learn. Opposite sign says Ansh. So Ansh, you mean that the sign of the inequality will flip. Anshuman agrees to that and you're correct. If I do this, then I'm wrong. I can't just do that. I will have to flip the sign of the inequality as Ansh and Pallavi and So many people now understand. That's very good. Now, once I have 4m less than 10, now when I divide by 4, it's a positive number, nothing is going to change. So m is less than 2.5. Now, non-negative integral values. I think nobody told me what integral is. Did you guys tell me integral? Yeah, you wrote values 1, 2, 3, 0. Yeah, so those are integers. Now, what are all of the values here? It's going to be 0, 1, and 2. So, for people who did not count the 0, the answer for you will be choice B. But I am surprised to see that so many of you found just one integral value. Can you tell me, all those people who marked choice A, what was your reasoning and what did you miss? Your first step of finding out where you faltered. Because if you find out where you falter, only then can you fix it, right? So, first step is identification. Let's see. Yes, you told it first. Okay, let's see who knows this now. A choice people. I'm looking for all of those people who marked choice A. Please tell me why you went for 1. What is the one integer that you found, or which are the ones that you missed? Okay, you were giving 2 as an answer. Okay, 2, that means you were missing 0. Yeah. That's a very common mistake, and that's why I was expecting choice B to come more than choice A. And that's why I want to see, for all of those people who marked A, what did we really miss? Come on, hurry up, people. What happened here? I'll be able to wait here for 10 more seconds, otherwise, we'll have to go to the next question. The question here is, anybody else can also chime in why you think and what you think they missed. Because when you start to think about faltering points, you really get into the game. You start to understand why, which choice is wrong. Oh, Manish, that was a calculation mistake. Calculation mistake, imagine now. You know inequalities then. It's just one calculation that did this to you. So, what is the learning out of that? Focus. Every time you do something, make sure you're 100% into it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here, the correct answer is choice C, which had a pretty low accuracy. The main learnings in this question were two. Inequalities with the same sign can be added together. You see how we added these two, and that's why minus n and n vanished? It was only because both of them were greater than inequalities. If one was greater than and the other was less than, you cannot add them. You'll first have to flip the sign by multiplying with a negative number, minus 1 really. And then the second thing was that sign of inequality changes whenever you multiply by a negative number. So Val says, my intuition did not work. So you did not multiply equation 1 with 2. Arun forgot to change the sign. So first I'll talk to you, Arun. If you did not change the sign and you got 4m greater than 10, you really got m greater than 2.5. How many integers are there like this where m is greater than 2.5? It's infinite such numbers. That wasn't even in the choices. Why would you go with one such integer? Now, coming back to you, Val, this is not about intuition really. It is about you knowing how to solve a system of inequalities. Every time that you have a system of inequalities and you want one variable out of it, your goal is to be to eliminate the other one. Now, when that goal is clear, you will be able to do the right things. And how do I eliminate and all of those things? Okay, so MT says, I'd say pay very close attention to manipulating the inequalities, adding them. If you don't know the sign, you risk making the mistake of assuming something which is not true. The risk of assumption is always there. I mean, I've seen so many people lose out on questions just because they assume things. Assumption is a big killer on this exam. Never assume anything. Infer things as you go. Make sense out of information that you have, but don't just assume something. Write things properly. Remember the rules. I need to add them. I can add them if they have the same sign, and all of those things. If I multiply by a negative number, I need to flip the signs. Now, these are things, these are your concepts. If you miss these, of course, the foundation is weak. But a lot of times, what happens is, even if we know the foundation, when we're doing the question, we're just not focused. And then calculation mistake or something like that happens. So make sure till now you're focused on you have your focus there, you have the concept solid, and you're trying to apply all of the skills. Now, here's a link on learning how to apply process skills the right way. Definitely go through this. Chitrangana says, can we only add inequalities, not supply? That's a very nice question. We really can only add inequalities. If you want to subtract two inequalities, the only way to do that is to add the negative. Okay, don't get intimidated by this. What I mean is, suppose I want to do 10 minus 2. That's subtraction. I can't do that. What I'll do is I will add 10 and negative 2. You see, it's the same thing. So in inequalities also, you will first have to make one inequality the negative of what it is, then add them. That's subtraction. But no, you can't multiply them, you can't divide them. That's not going to happen anywhere. What about flipping sign? I said every time that you multiply by a negative number, both sides of an inequality, the sign will flip. I hope everybody is on the same page now. Yes, empty. That's true. You can only add if they have the same sign. Both are greater than or both are less than. I'm not saying greater than equal to can't be there. That can. But one greater and one less, that's not allowed. All right, with all of these learning still here, so much we've already discussed. Let's go to the next warm up question. Answer in the poll, please. No answers in the chat. All the best. Okay, accuracy data is here. We have a 60% accuracy in this one, which is again pretty low. But this was a different kind of question. You had two things multiplied, it's a quadratic expression. a quadratic inequality, and you want to see where this expression is going to be positive, where it's going to be greater than 0. What's the next most popular? That is A. Okay, this will be very interesting. When I'll tell you what the correct answer is, you will see what happened with A. This question, I'm going to do two methods. You feel free to use any one method, but I know which one you like. I'll wait for you to tell me that. Method number one. What do I have? I have a product of two factors, and this product is positive. When is the product of two numbers, any two numbers in the world, when is the product positive? It happens in two cases. One, if both of those numbers are positive, and two, if both of those numbers are negative. Yeah, Ansh already knows the method I'll get to. So if both are positive, x minus 2 is greater than 0 and x minus 3 is greater than 0. There's an and between them. What this means is x is greater than 2 also and it's greater than 3 also. Now, you don't really need to say both things. You just can say x is greater than 3 because it will automatically be greater than 2 in that case. So, we've combined the two cases that were connected with an and. Similarly, when you go to the second case, both of them are negative. X minus 2 is negative and x minus 3 is negative. What you get out of this is that x is less than 2 and less than 3. Again, you don't need to say both things. If you just say that x is less than 2, it's automatically less than 3 as well. So now this is what I get from both of my cases. Case 1 told me x is more than 3, and that's when your expression is going to be positive. Case 2 told me your expression is going to be positive when x is less than 2. So both of these are part of my solution, less than 2 as well as greater than 3. Where do you see that? That's here in choice C. Less than 2 means everything smaller than 2. There's no lower limit to it. There's no number lower than which you cannot go, right? So it's negative infinity to 2. Or when I say it's greater than 3, then what that means is you start from 3, there's no upper limit. This time you can go all the way till infinity. Now, look at what the next most popular choice was, A. Can you people see that it's the exact opposite of the correct answer? I am saying I want everything beyond 2 and 3, smaller than 2, greater than 3. Choice A is saying I want everything between 2 and 3. So, everybody who marked choice A, you've really given where this expression is negative when the question asked for where it is positive. That's why I said it's going to be interesting that when I say go east, you go west. That's what happened here. So, I hope everybody understands this method. This is what I think is more common, more something that we've seen before as well. But then the second method, the powerful method here that I'm going to give you here is the wavy line method. Listen to this very carefully and ask me questions the moment you're stuck, okay? Now, what do I do? I want it to be positive. That's my question. But I'll first find where this expression is 0. Okay. Now, where is it 0? I'm going to see that this happens at 2 and 3. Because at 2 also x minus 2 is 0. At 3, x minus 3 is 0. So the expression becomes 0. You then draw the wave. How have I drawn this? Was this a random thing I drew? No. Listen very carefully to this. Whenever the expression that you have, look at the highest power of x in that. If you multiply it, you don't actually will multiply, you will not actually multiply it, but if you do, it's going to be x squared. Now the coefficient of that x squared is going to be positive. I don't care about what it is. How do I know positive? Because both of my x's are positive. Now this is also plus x, this is also plus x. So product is also going to be plus x squared. Every time that the coefficient of the highest power is positive, you will draw your wave from the top right hand corner. That's where you will start drawing. This is the end product that you see, but how will you draw it? You will start from the top right hand corner, which is here. You will move towards your 0 point, whichever 0 point comes close. You will cut the number line and go to the other side. Other side means from above the number line, you went below. And here also you move towards the next 0 point, which is 2, cut the number line and go to the other side. So this time you went from below to above the number line. This is how we've drawn the wave. It's not important that you have a perfect u or anything. This is not the graph of this. Again, I'm repeating, this is not the graph of this expression. The wavy line is a different thing. It only tells you where an expression is positive, where it is negative, and where it is zero. It is zero at these points that you drew at the beginning. It is positive when you are above the number line. So you see where I've written this plus and plus? This is where your wave was above, no? This is on the right side of 3 and on the left side of 2. And it's negative when you're between 2 and 3. You see that your wave is below the number line, and that's why it's negative here. Now, my question wanted it to be positive, no? So, positive means above. Where was it above? Again, I'll just repeat. That happened when you were on the right of 3 or on the left of 2. Okay, so Agrim, you like the method. Who else really understood the method? It's a super powerful method. This was just two factors, by the way. The power can go as high as, whatever. It could be a 10th power thing or a 20th power thing. There's no end to this, although that will not happen on the exam. But the same method can be used. So, like a Grim, who all appreciate this method and you understand this method. Once you learn how to draw these waves, it's going to be very smooth whenever you're doing, quadratic or higher inequalities as well, whatever be the power. Okay. Okay, Manish is telling the answer. Manish, answer I told you from the first method only. The correct answer is still C. So this was one very important method here. Before this, everything that we discussed in the warm-up was more about the basics that I wanted us all to review together. How to add inequalities, how to eliminate something, what happens when you multiply by a negative number, and leaving warm-up with this powerful method. Now, till here then, a lot of things you've learned. My feedback here is make sure that you are 200% confident in everything that happened in these three questions. Because these were easy questions. The actual exam will require a much higher level application of this stuff. So if this stuff is not absolutely solid, it will be hard to go on. So if you got anything wrong here, you need to redo that. You need to go to the right concepts and learn those. Become solid there, and then you'll be good to go to the next stage. Next stage is going to be what? Before I tell you that, it's time to talk about some more things we're bringing for you. So today we're doing algebra, we're doing inequalities, but the exam needs a lot of more, other things, other topics. Become better in all of them. You need to if you need a good score. And for that, we have some more sessions coming for you. We're always there. Every single weekend we do sessions, and then these also happen. So Saturday, July 16, 7:30 p.m. IST, you have a strategy webinar where you will learn how you should identify your weakness, how you should create plans, improvement plans specific to you. Your journey can't be the same as your neighbor's journey. Everybody starts at a different point. Everybody's destination might be the same if both of you aim for the same score, but your journey can't be the same. You need to learn how you will track your improvement and how you will excel on the GMAT. And then the very next day, Sunday, 17th July, same time as the previous session, 7:30 p.m. IST, we will do a geometry webinar. So this is where I'll come back and we'll do a geometry session just like we're doing algebra today. Again, the goal will be the same, to understand that once you have the right concepts, you need to learn how to apply them first through process skills. You need to polish that skill, and you'll finally be ready to do any GMAT style question if you follow the right approaches. If you don't run after shortcuts, because they're not going to be with you for very long. Now, time to put you all to practice. Let's all see. Okay. Everybody excited for practice, I hope. We're going to go into the first sprint where there are going to be three questions. Apply everything that we've talked about till here, and let's see if this already made a difference. Okay. So, three questions, polls again. We'll discuss after you're done. All the best. Time for question one. All right, accuracy for this one is here 67%. It's better than the previous question. Not the best though, and we took quite a lot of time, didn't we? Now, probably you found the calculations a little big, but the numbers are not that big really. So let's see what happened. Remember what I said on the first warm up question? That if it's x that I want and I have x in different places, I have it on the left side, on the right side, then I need to get all of my x's together. So that's going to be the first step even now. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to first bring in the 48x from the right hand side to the left side by changing this plus into a minus. So this became minus 48x. In the same step, I'm sending 32 to the other side. Here it's a plus 32. Goes to the other side, becomes minus 32. Then this is what I have. Now, I need to first remove the minus. I could do it in one step, by the way, just straight away divide by negative 32. But if I first remove the minus, I'll multiply both sides by minus 1. And I know because it's a negative number, it is going to flip the sign of the inequality. So greater became less. And now when you divide by 32, that's a positive number. So now nothing is going to change. X less than minus 2 it is. And where do you have less than minus 2? Because there's no limit. You can go all the way till negative infinity. And so this is how it will look like on the number line, and your correct answer is C. So the main thing here again wasn't a new concept. It was just where you were applying what you had learned. The first time in the warm up, you were allowed to get it wrong. But since you still got it wrong, that shouldn't have happened. So all those people who said none of the above, E being the next most popular choice, what did you think this was? What were you getting? Because x greater than negative 2 is what you would get if you miss, flipping the sign. And there was a choice for that as well, choice B. But then none of the above just means you were doing something completely different. Vinayak says if x can go to negative infinity, should it be greater than negative infinity? So at the very end, the lowest ever number is negative infinity. It's not attainable though, but it is the lower limit. It's like nothing is the lower limit. So absolute bottom is this. So we write it this way. Okay, this tricked you. MT says I made a bad math mistake going into hiding. What did you do, and did you mark E? Tell me, the people who marked E, so many of you went with E. This question should not have had a 67% accuracy unless more people did what MT did. Bad math mistake. What happened here? Let's see more people summarize. Then we're going to go to the next question in the sprint. I'm going to wait here for 10 more seconds. I know there's a small gap between when I talk and you hear it. Let's see. Same thing here. What was the same thing? What is this bad math mistake everyone is doing? I'm now curious. It can't be the same for both of you. Did you do a calculation mistake again? Was multitasking. Got the division by 2 wrong. That's pretty interesting. Ryan just put x equal to minus 1. Remember I said in the beginning, plugging in is not a good approach? Well, it happened here. Okay. All right, Mohit. It is time. It is where I have to take everyone together. 67% is a pretty low accuracy, so 33% of us were stuck. So this did require discussion. Now, yes, we're gonna have the poll for the next question. Sprint 1, question 2. All the best. All right, the accuracy here is 53%. Before I start to talk about the solution, I talked about it at the beginning about not posting our responses in the chat. It is important. Yes, you got it. Good. Do not influence anyone else. Maybe someone else was leaning somewhere else. You made them lose the chance to learn from a mistake because you already influenced them by your answer. Let's not do that. Let's all support, help each other. We're learning together. Let's learn this first. Okay? Time to get into the next question. Sprint 1, question 2. Question 2 now. Let's come. So 53% and next most popular choice was A. That had to happen and probably would have been more if those comments did not come. So, what is the minimum value of integer x? This is it. This is all you need to understand why A is wrong. The question tells you that it's an integer. You still mark negative 5.5. Why? Because you're in the flow of solving the question. You're under time pressure. You need to get done, which will happen on the exam as well. But under that pressure, we can't lose our cool. We can't lose our focus and miss out on such an important constraint given in the question that it's an integer. So before you mark your final answer, make it a habit to see, am I giving the right thing? Now, coming back here, 16x plus 32, this first inequality is the same that you saw previously. The second one is a new one. So, first inequality, you know the answer is going to be x less than negative 2. Second one gives you that x is greater than equal to negative 5.5. When you combine it, this is what you see. And yes, negative 5.5 is included according to this. And that's all you saw. You just saw included, so that's the minimum. But because it's an integer, you can only take negative 5, and the correct answer is B. It was as simple as that. Um, MT got this right. Thank you for realizing, Mohit. Totally accepted. I crazy trigger says I went all speed but did not read integer. That happens. That happens. You miss out, and I'm so happy you're using the word constraint. That's the skill that you were lagging. And if you're using the right terms, you'll be able to pinpoint the mistakes you're making. So often we make a mistake and we just say, "Oh, I made a silly mistake." I'm happy you did not do that. MT says this was a nice question, got it right. And in the exam, you'll find a trap, not in the question, but by the details in the wording. That's absolutely true. And that is what, focus, it lets you read the right things, not miss them out. Constraints, be careful when you're translating and all of those things. Those are very, very important skills. All right, I'm so glad everybody is taking the learnings from this one, and that means we're ready for the next thing. My main takeaways to you, as I already said, read the question statement properly, pay special attention to constraints, not just constraints. Constraints is one thing, but every word in the question. Believe it or not, one word here and there, the answer changes. You will see evidence when you do more questions. At every step, make sure that you're careful that you've read everything. Okay? With that, we'll go to the next question in this sprint. Last question in sprint 1. Let's see how we all do on this. All the best. Okay, accuracy is here, 75% accuracy. This is good. We are getting better, and the question did not get easier, by the way. So you can be happy. Now, what is the range of values? And this time it's a different thing. It's a quotient. You have some kind of a division here, and you've not seen this before. One common mistake here is to just multiply x plus 4 on the right hand side and just get x minus 3 less than 0. But can we do that? Before I say anything else, can you please tell me that? Thank you, Philip, for that in progress feedback. Thank you. Come on, can we multiply this, everyone? Can we just multiply both sides by x plus 4 and get x minus 3 less than 0 and x less than 3 and be done with it? No. Okay. One strong no. And yes, we can't. I can't wait for more messages. We really can't wait. Sorry, we really can't multiply. And why? I don't know the sign of x plus 4. If x plus 4 is a positive number, then yes, the inequality will not change. But if x plus 4 is a negative number, this inequality will flip. So either you do both of those cases and take care of the fact that you take care of the range in which you're solving, or just multiply both sides by x plus 4 whole squared. Why that works? First thing, it's in the denominator. It can't be 0. Otherwise, your expression itself would have been wrong. So if something is non-zero and you square it, it's positive, no then. So that means this time I've definitely multiplied a positive number, because of which I'm sure that the sign of my inequality will not change. It will stay less than 0. So now, when I have this, I can cancel out the x plus 4 in the numerator and the denominator. Now I have a normal quadratic inequality like the previous question. And this accuracy here means that you took the learnings from that warm up wavy line question very, very seriously, because you did this so well. I'll still walk you through it. The 0 points here are going to be negative 4 and 3. The coefficient of x squared highest power is positive. So you start from the top right hand corner, you draw your wave, you want it to be negative, which happens if it's below the number line. It's going to be between negative 4 and 3, and you see that in choice C. The next most popular choice, as I read, was A, which was everything on the right side of 3. Just look at it. Even if I wanted positive, I wanted the expression to be positive, even then it will not just be 3 on the right of 3. Then it will also be on the left of negative 4. Now, so even if you did positive, you still did it incomplete. Correct answer is C, and I hope everybody has understood it. D is, yeah, D is what you would mark in that case if you thought that you wanted positive. Thank you. Now, with this, then, you should know your concepts pertaining to wavy line, which we got from the warm up. And multiplication by negative number flips the sign, even if you could not see a negative number this time. That's what changed. Because earlier, when I was dividing by a minus 2 or a minus 32, I could see that it's a negative number. No, but now when I had it as x plus 4, I can't see that it's a negative number. So when it's a variable, it's all the more important that you think about the signs, because it's easy to see minus 5 is negative. It's not easy to see that x can be negative because you don't see anything. So I hope everybody has understood this, and then we'll go into sprint 2. Since we've already increased our accuracy in sprint 1, I'm more excited to go into sprint 2 now. But before that, let me just give you a little breather. Let's talk about the exam. Let's take you closer to your success. I hope you're ready to solve the most challenging questions that are going to be in the session. Now, how do we really go from easy questions, from very conceptual questions, to mid level questions, to hard questions? How does all of this go the right way, ensuring that you're learning at each step? Take the Quant 2.0 trial and you'll know for yourself. Everything is based on the expert architecture, where AI determines the right feedback to give to you. It tells you what you need to do, what you've done well, what you need to redo, what you need to slightly do again, everything. You're going to get feedback. Now, that it first does by giving you a plan of what to even do, which happens by us understanding your starting level, which happens through diagnostic quizzes. We diagnose your starting abilities. Then through that, you learn what to do, what not to do, and then put your effort only in the right places. You will never feel scattered. What do I do? How much do I do? No, only do what you really need to. So this is just an example. This is a module on in our algebra course on linear inequalities. See how there are two files dedicated to diagnostics. One is the GMAT skills diagnostic, because these are GMAT style questions where we see, are you already there? Can you already solve GMAT style questions in linear inequalities? Then there's a concept diagnostic that, okay, if somebody cannot do GMAT style questions, are they still good with the concepts? Both things are important to see. Sometimes both of them are missing, sometimes concepts are already there. So accordingly, then you'll know which concepts to do from here. You don't have to decide, the course will tell you that. Then you build further process skills, learn how to apply, then get for the GMAT skills. You don't straight start solving GMAT style questions like people mostly do. Just do tens of thousands of questions. Nothing is going to happen. Learn it the right way, progressively. So if you do things correctly, success is going to be yours. It can't elude you. Now look at this again. 47 Q49 plus scores. So you know the score you get in quant is going to be at the most a Q51. So what I'm talking about here is 49, 50, 51, the top three scores. 47 of those of the reported scores on GMAT Club were powered by eGMAT, and the next best had almost half of that, and then the numbers really just faded away. Now that was just one, but look at the overall success when it's the overall exam and 700 plus level scores. Look at the difference in the numbers. It's less than one third of the success that we power. Now, why that happens is because we teach things the way they are meant to be learned. You have an entire package. You don't just have a course, you have a product, something that's going to be with you like a person from the beginning to the end, and you're going to learn the right way. Now, to keep this journey of learning on, to really have your strategy, if you want to start today, you want to know how do I do this, I'm excited, I'm pumped. Join this session on Saturday, July 16, 7:30 p.m. IST, where you will know how to plan your preparation, identify your weakness, create plans specific to yourself, know how you can track whether you're improving or not. I mean, don't just keep doing and you don't even know what's happening, and then excel on the exam. Next day, then Sunday, July 17th, I'm going to be back with another session. This is geometry. Today is algebra, that is geometry. There again, you're going to learn how, with the right concepts and the right process skills, you can solve any question with ease. No question is going to scare you. Okay, now with this little breather, I think it's time we go, but this is an important thing I forgot, because you will want to hear from students. I am still somebody from EGMAT, right? So trust this. Let our students speak for us. Go and watch these things. You will learn a lot more about the program from here. So I look forward to seeing you guys. And now, time for sprint 2. Breather over, good session, good information about the exam. It's important to see the holistic picture. Okay, so link will be up here in seconds. All the very best for this question. Let's see what all we've learned till here. All right, our accuracy data is here. Abu Bakr is already giving some hints out. Next popular incorrect choice is A. Okay, which is, yeah, that had to happen. I knew A was gonna come. Look, everyone who marked A, before I say anything, I want to wait. Read the question again. You have 15 seconds. Tell me if you want to change your answer. Everyone who marked A. And if you do want to change your answer, tell me why. Look at it again. Another 15 seconds. If nobody gets it, of course, I'm going to tell you. But give it a shot because I am sure you're going to do it. And Abu Bakr gave you a hint. Oh, well, so GMAT does not deal with imaginary numbers at all. It's going to be real numbers only. With that information, now do you want to change? You have z squared, no z in E. Yeah. In E, as in, do you mean on the form empty? If yes, then that's a correction for next time. Although E is not the correct answer anyway. We don't need to be worried about that. All the people who marked A, come on, I can't wait more than 5 more seconds. I'll have to tell you after that. This is after the hint you've already had. Okay. Well, because z squared is a square, it has to be non-negative. It has to be either 0 or positive. So even if you got that it is greater than negative 4, it makes no sense to put this. Because this is also going to have negative 3, negative 2.5, negative 2.1, all those values, which z squared cannot attain. So the correct way would be to cut your solution off at 0, which is where it can go till at the very least, including zeros. Correct answer is D. I'm already telling you that for all those people who did A. Now, look how. It's something very basic to do with z squared only. If z squared is non-negative, that means it's either 0 or positive. If I add 4 to it, then even 0 is out of the picture. Then z squared plus 4 has to be a positive number. So this is when you don't go by the wavy line method. Remember the first method where you had to think about both cases? If right now I had to think about both cases, it would be first positive, second negative, or first negative, second positive. But because I know that the first one is positive, I also know that the second one is negative. That means z squared minus 2 is less than 0. From here, you're going to get z squared less than 2. Now, this is not where you put negative infinity on the left side because you have no lower limit. You have a lower limit. Not because the question gave it to you, but because it's a conceptual constraint. Z squared cannot go below 0. So you plug that gap in at 0 and you're done. The correct answer is D. Okay, Tom says if you marked E, look at the question again. Really do look at it again. And I'll tell you, if you continue when you try to find Z, I think the person who was trying to look for empty, you were trying to look for Z, or maybe that is what you had it there. I explained myself badly. You get z squared less than 2. So even not seeing the negative part, it's not correct. Now, if somebody tries to go beyond this and get z out of it, then you're going to be like, oh, it's going to be between negative root 2 and root 2. So now I get what you're saying. Had this been z, it would be correct. But answer still would not be correct. Inequality would be correct. Answer still would be wrong because the question still wants z squared. Even if you give the right information about z, nobody asked you for that. So the question does. The option you mark will not become correct because the statement is correct. It wasn't what was asked. So correct answer here is D. Now, sprint to question 2. This I think everybody understood because of all of this interaction we had here. Good, healthy interaction. Keep this up on other questions. Link should be up in seconds. Here's your question. Very similar to what you just did. Okay, accuracy here 60%, pretty low. Vicky TJ, you chose to put the answer here when we're not supposed to put answers in the chat, but it was wrong. I'm happy it was, otherwise, it would have influenced more people. So here, z is an integer. How many values of z squared satisfy this? Same inequality. Just that instead of finding the range of z squared, you want to know how many values of z squared there are. What's the next popular choice? It's okay, Vicky. Next most popular choice is D. Let's see how that happens. Now you already know the range that you get is going to be between 0 and 2. Now, if z is an integer, how many values of z squared there are? Z squared, values of z squared. It's going to be just 0 and 1. That's what falls in this range. Whosoever marked D, you found 0, 1, minus 1. Why? Because you found the values of z, not z squared. Because you did not care what the question wanted, you had to give what you had to give. Right? See? Tom did that. It happens. This is despite us having done so many questions that you need to read what the question wants. It's not a difficult question. It's not like I tested you on something really hard. I hope everybody can see that. It's just about attention to detail. Constraints given in the question. What are they even asking? We can't lose that. Um, MT says strict inequality there. Yes. And even then, that is one problem if somebody would count 0, 1, and 2. Another is, as Tom said, finding the values of Z. Abu Bakr says, I'm not sure, but I think the values, yeah, the values are 0 and 1 written here on screen. Okay, so this was very close to the previous question. That's why this was pretty quick. But the learning is still huge. Focus on the constraints in the question. Focus on what is asked. Read questions carefully. As basic as it sounds, I might sound like a broken record here, but it's important. It's you see how it happens on the very next question, even after I said it on the previous question. So let's not do that. Read it carefully. Make sure you use everything you know. Time to apply it on question number 3. All the best. Okay, accuracy here is 53%. Pretty low, but I expected this. This is a hard question, and I don't know if you realize, but you took a lot more time on this one than you did on all of the others before this. What's the next most popular choice, Aditi? If you could have that. That was B. Had to be. So I'll tell you what happened in B. In fact, you'll realize if you read the question just one more time, which is what is the positive difference between the minimum possible value of x and minimum value of y. For all those people who marked choice B, did you really take minimum for both of them? You'll realize by the time I come to that point. Okay, so here you have two inequalities, and this time instead of finding only one variable, I need both of them. So, how I do that is I'll have to eliminate my variables one at a time. So, when one gets eliminated, I'll find the other one and then I'll see how that goes forward. Now, first things first, I see one of them is a greater than inequality, one is less. Won't work for me. I need to do something about that. Look what. First of all, the first inequality, I'm just rewriting it this way. So all of my everything is on the left side, only zero is on the right side. For the second inequality, as I said, it's reverse. It's a less than inequality. How do I flip it? Well, first bring y here. First, you at least have everything together. You know the way to flip an inequality is to multiply or divide it by a negative number. Now, why would you choose -2, -3, or anything? Just take a simple number so that the magnitude does not increase. You take -1 only. When you do that, the sign of your inequality reverses. It becomes greater than. Now, inequalities 1 and 2 both have the same sign. Now, if I want to eliminate, I am not ready to eliminate any variable because the coefficients are not the same. You know, whatever you want to eliminate, you have to make the coefficients equal. Now, in this case, the first one, I'll try to eliminate x first. So I'll first multiply it throughout by 3. It becomes this inequality. Now you see the coefficients of x are the same, but with opposite signs. Now I can add. I'll add my inequalities. My x will vanish. I'll get y greater than 6, which is precisely what Vinayak also wrote. So till here, Vinayak, it's perfect. Now, if y is greater than 6, let's already think about what's the minimum possible value of y. Tell me. We already know x and y are positive integers. Remember that information. So Vinayak says x is a positive integer. Thus, x is so you are correct then, Vinayak. Everybody who marked a B, I'll tell you what you did. First of all, if y is greater than 6, then the minimum it can be is 7. Now we continue to find x, and how? This time you want to eliminate the y. So in inequality number 5, you have a y. In number 2, you have minus y. You already have opposite coefficients. Add them, you get rid of that, and you get x. Minimum possible value of x now is 1. There are a lot of you who took this as 7. That is, you found the maximum possible value of x. And that's when your difference came out to be 0, which is, yes, Vinayak, Sandeep, you guys got it correct. But everyone who marked B, you took minimum x as 7 instead of maximum x. Because you just saw in y what was happening. You were taking the very next number. Here also, you just took the closest number. You forgot what you wanted. Again, how? Reading the question carefully. The word minimum was there. You still made the mistake. Now, let's take our learnings forward into the last question of this sprint. Give it your best, everyone. Let's not make mistakes that are related to not reading properly, at least. All the best. Okay, accuracy is 43%. Thank you, Preet. It's a pleasure to always do these sessions. I'm so glad you appreciate this. This question now. The accuracy is very low, 43%, and the next most popular choice is, as I expected, choice A. Before I say anything, look at choice A. Even if you did not mark it, okay? This is a group exercise. Look at choice A and look at that one number in this range that cannot be the solution. Let's see who can figure this out. There is one number in this range which is my problem, which cannot satisfy this. Thank you, Akash. That was really quick, and I'm so happy to read that. This includes zero. Yes, Sugar also got it. So many of you, 40%, I think, these are the people who marked A. MT got trapped, even if you were careful from the beginning that it's not going to happen. You know why? Because you had not written it there on your page. When I do questions, I know we can miss this. I write it in a, and I box it that X is not equal to zero. If I include 40% of you from choice A into choice C, which is already at 43, your accuracy is going to be 83%. Do you see the power here? Do you see the importance of that? One mistake, one mistake here. Sandeep says, is it negative infinity to 3? No, that is not what it is. I'm going to discuss. I'm just saying, why is A wrong? And this is not correct. Let's discuss it now. So we have this expression, and there's something in the denominator. I know if it's in the denominator, it cannot be zero. I also know if it's not zero and it's a square, it's already positive, right? Because it can't be zero. If it's already positive, understand that it cannot impact the sign of the numerator. If the numerator is negative, it will stay negative. If the numerator is positive, it will stay positive. This x squared is not going to do anything because it's anyway positive. So you can just get rid of it and stay with x minus 3 times x plus 1 is less than equal to 0. And now it'll feel way easier. It's just like the questions you did earlier. Rmn, yes. C is the one that includes both. What do you mean both? Let's see. Rmn, x equal to 2, you put in the value. X equal to 1, you put in the value. Okay. Plugging in is not my favorite approach. I'm not going to comment on that. It is not something that you'll be able to do on the hardest of questions. You will waste time. You will still not be sure, have I taken all numbers or not? It's one thing to take numbers and get opposite answers. That's the best. It's easy to reject, but it's easy to prove that something is enough by numbers. You will never know how many numbers to take. Not my approach. So again, wavy line method, you take your 0.3 and negative 1, you draw your wave, you want it to be less than equal to 0, that is below the number line. That happens between negative 1 and 3. But one thing first is that negative 1 and 3 will also be included because 0 is also allowed. Yeah, another mistake would be to not include them. But as I said, you need to get rid of 0 on the way. If you just leave your answer here in A, that's wrong. You need to break it at 0. So 0 does not go with the left side, also 0 does not go with the right side. Both intervals but excludes 0. Yes, so it just excludes 0. RMN, yeah. So yeah, I'm glad. I hope you understand why I'm saying plugging in is not the best approach. It will not help you do the hardest of questions. It's not a scalable approach. You can do it on some questions. When you're running really short on time, maybe this is all somebody can do in that case. You have 20 seconds, which should not happen if you manage your time well, but still, it's not good. Abu Bakar, thank you for that feedback. I'm glad you already are giving us feedback. This is today I've gotten feedback during the session. If more people enjoyed it, please let me know. This is what makes me going. It just keeps me going. So here the correct answer is choice C, everyone. And the concept was not new. The concept was still the wavy line method. The one thing here was a constraint that x cannot be 0. And so many of you realized it the moment I said look at A. That means you have it in you, right? Level, this is a hard question. This is a 700 plus level question. Vinayak says, can you explain what happens if the power is more than 2? Even then, the wave will continue. Suppose I had another 0 point here at -4, maybe. Then my wave, just look at my cursor, okay? My wave will continue this way. I'll see if I can annotate. Give me 1 second. So if this is another 0 point, I'll continue the wave this way. That's it. No matter how many 0 points you have, it's going to go on and on. And I'm happy somebody asked that question. Okay, then this is your question number last question. These are the sessions I already told you about. I look forward to seeing you there. These are my concluding remarks. Yes, Sandeep, this is 700 level. The accuracy on this, 43%, it tells you it's a hard question. Always trust data. Don't trust what you feel about a question. Trust the data on it. That so many people got it wrong. It's hard. So, my concluding remarks to all of you, I want you to leave with a plan here. Make a plan for yourself. Make a personalized study plan. Attend the next sessions I told you about. Keep the learning going. Don't let it stop here now that you're all in the groove. Solve the free trial questions that you get. The link should be here with the Quant new trial. Take it, attempt the course, see if this style fits you. I'm sure you're going to see the value the moment you go there. Check your data when you do questions and see the power of data, that every time you do questions, the system tells you a story about yourself. Oh, you're making a lot of mistakes on this thing or a lot of mistakes on that thing, and you'll know how to work on those. And then accordingly make improvement plans. Once you know what the issues are, that's when you're going to make improvements. Sandeep, that's very good. Now track your improvement as you keep making them, and I look forward to your feedback. The feedback link should be here. Please spend a few seconds there and let us know how you like the session. We would really, really value this. Thank you, Vishal. I have feedback from 3 people during the session only, and a lot of those beautiful like that you guys hit, but it mean a lot when we read from you in the feedback. I'll see you again in another session. Very nice being here. All the best to anyone who has the exam before I see you again. Good night, good day. Bye bye.